Welcome to ShowMeTheCurry.com. I'm Anuja.
And I'm Hito.
And today we're going to show you how to make chapatis.
It's an integral part of any Indian meal.
And here's what you'll need.
Whole wheat flour, 1½ cups. Salt, 1/4 teaspoon or to taste. Oil, 3 teaspoons. Water, approximately ½ cup. Okay, we're going to make the dough now. We're going to add our flour to a bowl. And sprinkle the salt. And this is optional in case, you don't want to use salt. That's fine too. Incorporate it well. And then we'll pour oil inside. Now you want to mix the flour again to make sure all the oil gets incorporated into the flour. And you don't want lumps of oil in there. Just for a few seconds. Okay. Oil and salt is nicely incorporated. So we're going to add water slowly. This water's been warmed in the microwave for about 30 seconds. Pour in a little at a time and just mix.
And Hito, what kind of whole wheat flour? Is it the one from the regular grocery store?
No, actually this is whole wheat flour from the Indian store. It's a little different from the whole wheat flour that you find in the grocery stores. The one in the American grocery stores usually is a lot darker in color, so chapatis turn a little browner than you probably like them. This one is available in any Indian store. It's called Chapatti Atta, A-T-T-A, and readily available. And just mix all that dough in and form like a nice ball.
Wow.
It doesn't take a lot of time at all. A lot of people are scared to do this. Because you're using your hands, it freaks people out. But it's really not that bad. I mean, literally, it takes under a minute to make this dough. Okay, the dough is in a nice ball. So we're going to take just a couple of drops of oil, just to lightly coat it. And that way, it doesn't form a dry skin on top of the dough. Okay, so the dough is nicely coated with just a few drops of oil, and we're going to keep it covered for about 15 to 20 minutes.
So if you're not comfortable using your hands while making the dough, here's another alternative way of doing it. Here's the whole wheat flour. I'm going to use the food processor. And if you notice, I'm using a chopping blade instead of a dough blade because it just mixes better and it gets all the edges and there's nothing left at the sides. And I'm going to mix in the salt at this point. And I'm going to give it a mix. And then I'm going to add in the oil. Okay, I've also heated up the water for 30 seconds. And I'm going to pour it in very slowly once I have the food processor on. All right.
Wow, that was easy.
Yes, looks done. Okay, I'm going to just give it one knead by hand, just to incorporate everything and make sure there's no air bubbles and all in it. There we go.
This food processor option is really good if you're making dough in bulk, because I understand that dough freezes really well, right?
Right, and I always do that. I do the whole 20-pound bag and keep it and just take out one ball at a time and just use it every day. Okay, and I'm also going to put a couple of drops of oil and just smother it a little bit, rub it a little bit so that it doesn't dry out, and cover it up. Set it aside for 15 minutes before I use it.
All right, atta has been resting for about 15 to 20 minutes. And we're going to knead it one time, quickly.
So how many chapatis does this make?
Well, this is 1½ cups of dry flour. It makes approximately 9 chapatis. So there's no science involved. You know, if you like really big chapatis, it can be less, or if you want small ones, you know, it'll make more. But something that fits into your palm, a closed fist. That's
kind of like a golf size ball.
Yeah, about a golf size, maybe a little bit bigger than a golf size ball.
Okay.
So just divide it out. Before we start rolling out our chapatis, we'll go ahead and turn on our stove and get our pan heated.
This is called a tawa. You can also use a non-stick frying pan.
Right. If you just don't have this or cannot find it, then a non-stick also works.
And at what heat have you put on the stove?
This is about medium, a little bit higher than medium.
Okay.
And you want to make sure your pan is really hot before you put your first chapati on. All right, while our pan is heating, we're going to take our dough and form a nice round ball. If you start off with a round ball, chances are that your final chapati will probably be round also. And we're going to dip it in some dry flour, shake off the excess, and roll it out. Now this rolling pin is my favorite. It's a thinner version, but a lot of people are used to the thicker version of rolling pins. Whatever you have is absolutely fine. And if you notice that your chapati is sticking to the ground, or whatever surface you're rolling it out on, take it and dip it again in the dry flour.
Wow, you make it look so easy.
This is really easy, but the key is it takes a lot of practice. And, when you first start, chances are your chapatis will not be round, and that's perfectly okay. They're still going to taste great. The more you do this, the better chances you have of getting a prettier final product. And this is a trick that my mom taught me when I was learning how to do this when I was little. You rub your hand across it, and instantly you'll feel where it's thicker and where it's thinner. And then you can just roll the parts that are thicker. That way, you don't have a chapati which is really thin on one side and really thick on another side. That also helps it in blowing up when you're cooking it. All right, our tawa looks hot, so we're going to put our rolled chapati and kind of move it around to make sure it doesn't stick. And we leave it alone until we start seeing bubbles appearing. So we're going to flip it around now. Let the side go for a few seconds. Now we're going to take some oil, and you can just dip your spoon into your oil, and then whatever is left, remainder, a few drops, just put it on and smear it on like that. And flip it around and press it. And you want to press where it bubbles to force the air into the other side, which is not risen yet. Smear it with oil again and press. You want to cook the chapati until you see that all the doughiness is gone and it looks fully cooked. And it's okay to have little brown spots on it.
Oh, it looks delicious. Nothing like homemade chapati.
There's really no replacement. You can buy these from the store, but when you taste these like fresh off this grill, it's awesome. And one of the other reasons, a lot of people don't use oil in their chapatis, but I put oil inside the dough. And what happens with that is that when you eat the chapati a little bit later on, it still tastes nice and soft, as opposed to the dough which has been prepared without oil. It tends to turn a little bit chewier.
Right.
Once the chapati is cooked, I like to keep it in a nice insulated canister like this. It helps it to stay nice and warm. So you can finish all your chapatis and then sit with your family and enjoy your dinner.
Right.
And they'll still be piping hot.
So there we have it. Fresh homemade chapatis.
So join us again on another episode of ShowMeTheCurry.com.
Adding a pinch of spice to your life.